Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we have a fantastic presentation by esteemed astrologer and author Donna Stellhorn titled The Wood Dragon, Pluto in Aquarius and Predictions for 2024. And lastly, if you wish to view our current class, workshop and webinar offerings, please visit KeplerCollege.org. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
I'm going to introduce Donna Stellhorn. So Donna is an astrologer, feng shui expert, and has written 20 books, including Feng Shui Form and the best-selling booklet Sage and Smudge. Donna writes weekly and monthly predictions for Astrology.com and Horoscope.com. She offers a growing catalog of video courses, including Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart and Tarot, Reading the Natural Way. Donna is a consulting astrologer specializing in predictive Western astrology, and she sees clients every day. She's on the board of NCGR in San Diego. For fun, Donna makes YouTube videos, and when she wants to be terrified, she does stand-up comedy. Very cool, Donna. Her favorite place is Iceland, but she currently lives in Oceanside, California, which is also quite wonderful. So I'm going to hand it over to Donna, and you can see that you can find her on her YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/Donna Stellhorn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Stellhorn, and let's see if my controls work. There we go. All right. Thank you, Lori, for that introduction. That was wonderful. I do have a new video course out. So this is my shameless promotion of Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. You can go to prosperityhandbook.com or my website, donnastellhorn.com, to check that out. That's Western astrology, in case you guys are looking for money. But let's talk about Chinese astrology. And Western astrology. So I assume that most of you are Western astrologers. I'm primarily a Western astrologer, and I got caught up in Chinese astrology very early in my life, in my astrology life, because I was doing martial arts and feng shui, and it was just a natural extension. So in Western astrology, of course, we're looking at the movements of the planets to do prediction, and there's all these overlapping cycles. But Chinese astrology is actually a calendar. There is a specific energy for every hour, day, month, and year. So there's 60 unique energies. And so it's much easier to get kind of a theme for an hour or a day or a month or a year. Now, the building blocks of Chinese astrology are the heavenly stems. There are 10 of those, and then the earthly branches. We're going to talk a lot about the earthly branches in this webinar. So the 10 heavenly stems are this cycle from birth to death and decay, and they are made up of the 5 elements and the condition of being yang or yin. And they alternate. So we do basically 2 wood energy and 1 in yang and 1 in yin, and then 2 fire and so forth. And then we combine these building blocks to get our unique energies. Now, originally, the 12 earthly branches were not connected to the animals. That was added around, between 635 and 978 AD. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So with the 12 earthly branches, there is an animal sign for each pair of hours. There is an animal sign for each month. And of course, you're familiar with the animal signs for the year. The ephemeris for Chinese astrology is called the 10,000-year calendar. This picture that I have here is the English version. It's available on Amazon. It's a little pricey, but I think it's like $60. If you want to, be able to find out what each of the days and months and years are, and then you can calculate the hours. The hours is done by local time. It is not adjusted for Greenwich Mean Time. It's whatever is on your clock. So when we are looking at the calendar of Chinese astrology, We think of a rat falling, well, we know that rat falls in the month of December, around December 6th, December 7th, depending on whether it's a leap year. So many people who were writing about Chinese astrology early on in the West confused the idea that the attributes of rat were like Sagittarius. But this is actually incorrect. And what I think is that because the animals came later, and in that 635 to 9, now I can't remember, 938 AD period, I think that there was some communication back and forth between Western astrologers and Chinese astrologers. And so that there was a sharing of some information. But this idea that just because the month of rat falls partially during the time of Sagittarius, to attribute rat to Sagittarius, I think is incorrect. I think it goes this way, and that is that rat, for us Western astrologers, has a lot of attributes like Aries. Rat is quick and wants to go out and get something. They're fast, opportunistic, eager to do things. And then if we go down around the wheel, then Ox is like Taurus. Ox is hardworking and steadfast and just keeps plowing the field until the field is done. Tiger, would be kind of like Gemini, sleeping in the sun and then seeing that, delectable antelope hop by and then running after it with all the energy that Gemini has. And then peaceful, home-loving rabbit would be Cancer. Then when I was doing this and I got to Dragon, which then would be Leo, I went, yes, this is correct, because what could be more Leo than Dragon? So that means that the wise and business-minded snake is Virgo. The beautiful horse is Libra. Goat, it's interesting because, goat and Scorpio, maybe we don't think of that as a fit, but the goat, which could also be ram or also be sheep, so it can kind of change a little bit on us. The goat is, going to be social enough to keep you, near them, watching out for wolves. But if you make them angry, they butt you off the mountain and that's it. So Sagittarius for monkey works perfectly. Monkey is always smart, loves to travel, loves to, do a little bit of mischief. Our manager of the barnyard, Rooster, would be Capricorn. The dog who wants friends and, wants to be part of the pack would be Aquarius. And then very intuitive and comfort-loving pig would be Pisces. So now, another of the building blocks of Chinese astrology is the 5 elements. And the 5 elements is different than the 4-element system in the Western astrology, because these 5 elements interact with each other. Now, like any elements, these are the materials that make up all things. And so they are the people, emotions, colors, clothing, all of the different things are ruled by an element. This is an example of houses in different elements. We can see the wood house at the top. So the firehouse with the very pitched roof and red roof. The adobe house, which is earth. The metal house, which has a lot of circles like coins, so arches and round things. And then any house that seems to be not fit anywhere, that seems to have some sort of undulating shape, would be water. So the 5 elements in Chinese astrology are based on the 5 visible planets. Wood is Jupiter. It's the color green. It is a shape that is tall and narrow like a tree trunk. It is things made of wood. It's the emotion of anger, and it is this energy of growth. Fire is Mars. It's red. It's things that are triangular shaped, like that pointed roof. It's animal prints, plastics, candles, things on fire. It is joy, and it is about action. Saturn is Earth, and it's yellow. It's anything that's kind of like a mesa or a table, like a flat-topped, low block. It's things made of clay or marble or granite. It's the energy of rest and stillness. Metal is Venus. It's white. It's a circular shape. It's things made of metal and coins and things like that. It is the energy of sadness and about being organized. And then Mercury is water, and so it's the color blue. It is an undulating shape or shapelessness. It is glass, things containing water. It is the energy of fear and also communication. Now, different than Western astrology, the 5 elements can be in different cycles. These are 2 of those cycles. One is the creative cycle, and that is that wood creates fire, which makes sense. And then fire, when it burns, makes ash, so that would be earth. Earth creates metal because we dig into the earth and we find gold. Metal creates water because when something's made of metal, we leave it outside, condensation forms on the metal, so it's actually pulling water from the air. And then water creates wood because we pour water onto the ground and trees grow. There's also a destructive cycle, and that is that wood depletes earth. It pulls the nutrients out of the earth. Earth blocks water like a dam. Water puts out fire, fire melts metal, and then metal, when it's formed into the axe, chops wood. Now, these cycles are quite important to let you know whether the energy that you're doing is compatible energy or not. So let's start by finding your personal elements. And if you are not born in January, February, this is quite easy. You can see that just by what the year ends, you can figure out your elements. So wood element people, your year ends in 4 or 5, fire 6 or 7, earth is 8 or 9, metal is 0 or 1, water is 2 or 3. And then if you're in an even number year, you're a yang energy. And if you're an odd number year, you're yin energy. Now, if you were born in January or February, you know the Lunar New Year changes at this time. It actually changes on the Aquarius new moon, and that would be China time. So like I said it for Hong Kong. And so if you are born in January or February, you can, and you're a Western astrologer, just find the Aquarius new moon for that time, and you can spot whether you should go back to the previous year or whether you are the current year. So let's compare then the element of the year to your own personal element. And because the element of the year is large and you are one person, we are going to also incorporate the creative or destructive cycles. So, but for wood, you are wood, and the element for the year is wood. So you're in harmony. So wood people just want to grow, and now the whole world is supporting that. That means you can expand your knowledge, you can expand your family, your acquaintances, your bank account, your skill set. Anything that you want to expand right now, the world is supporting that wholeheartedly. If you are fire, and in 2024, we are wood, that means you're on the creative cycle as wood creates fire. Now, this means that the entire world is made of wood and is feeding you. And so that means all these people step up to help you. It's very, very easy to get all these different opportunities for connections, for jobs, for new relationships. You can, as a fire person, you want to take action, and you're able to run in any different direction and find some support. But because there's going to be so many different opportunities, it's really good to know what it is that you want. Otherwise, you may be just at this big smorgasbord and not really focusing on, oh yes, I came here for a salad. Now, if your element is earth, and of course the whole world is wood, you're on the destructive cycle because wood depletes earth. That means the entire world feels like they can get something from you. So they want you on their team, they want you on their committee, they want you on their project. They want your support because they want to pull something from you. So it's going to be very important that you have boundaries, that you know when to say no, when you realize that somebody has some other reasons for asking you to, support them. So be choosy about who you work with and the projects that you work on this year. Now, if your element is metal and the entire world is wood, that means you are also on the destructive cycle, but in the other direction. So this means that you have the very sharp axe and the entire world is a forest. But maybe you don't want a log, maybe you want a chair. So you're going to have to chop the wood into the size and pieces that you want. That means that you're offered many opportunities, but they're not necessarily a good fit. They may not pay you enough or be the right schedule for you, or the person that you want to be in a relationship with, maybe you want to suggest some differences in that relationship, some changes. So you want to be mindful that you shouldn't just accept what is offered to you because you do have this sharp axe. You are able to suggest some changes, and then changes could happen. So this year you want to order a la carte. Now, if you are water and the entire world is wood, you are on the creative cycle, but not in the right direction because water feeds wood. So now here you are, water trying to feed the entire world. So that's like an endless supply of people asking you for a drink of water. And so at some point, you're going to feel depleted. So you're going to be pulled in many, many directions as people really see that you are the most important person for their project or whatever they're doing. So you need to be extremely careful to not use up your resources just to please others. You must first you have to put yourself first so that you don't run out of energy or time or money because everyone is pulling at you. Now, because I have told you guys now that we can say that rat is like Aries, and we already know that the different elements are the 5 visible planets. Now we can get a Western signature for what the year is. And so in 2020, we did Yang Metal Rat. And so that was a Venus in Aries sort of signature for the year. And so that that's kind of our scramble for resources year. That was, what do we want? Let's go get it really, really quickly. And then we did 2021, which was Venus in Taurus. And so that was, all right, I have what I want. I'm defining this as my possessions. And now that I know what resources I have, I'm going to rebuild. Then we did Tiger Year in 2022, and that was Mercury in Gemini. And that was that was the year, of course, that everyone got very tired of the whole pandemic thing, and they all tore off their masks and ran outside and said, I don't care anymore. So, and then in 2023, this year that we just have a couple of more days of, that is Mercury in Cancer. And this was the year where it was about home and family, of course, and fertility. And of course, this was the year that we experienced a lot of energy around homelessness, and of course, Roe v. Wade being overturned. So skyrocketing house prices. So a lot of that Mercury in Cancer sort of energy. So that brings us to 2024, which is going to be the Jupiter in Leo. energy. So if you can imagine what could be bigger than Jupiter in Leo, I can't. So this is going to be a high-flying, huge, bigger is better sort of year. Then we will go into Jupiter and Virgo, and what gets expanded is that Virgo energy of every single detail and, you know, what's working and what's not working, and let's rebuild the system. And so for those of you who are super future thinking, I also listed the next few years, 6 years. So we're going to do Mars in Libra energy in 2026. So clearly about relationships. Mars in Scorpio in 2027. So where we're fighting for our resources and probably borders as well. Then we go into a couple of Saturn years with the Yang Earth Monkey in 2028, where we may be very focused on what we believe versus what somebody else believes and taking sides that way. But some rebuilding when we do 2029 Earth Rooster, so Saturn in Capricorn. Then 2030, I'm really going out far. 2030 is Venus in Aquarius. So interesting, lots of changes there. And then the year of art and spirituality, 2031, Yin Metal Pig. So 2024, year of the wood dragon, we're looking for growth and excitement. Bigger is better, refusing to compromise. It's all of the Jupiter and Leo things, you know, wanting to be a great leader, wanting to be appreciated, making big promises, feeling that all things are possible, and not wanting to come down to earth. So is also a wanting to be entertained. And I have a feeling the media will definitely try to entertain us. Now, there's a lot of information on these next slides. So before we go through the animals, I just want to point out some of the things. If you are uncertain about what Chinese sign you are and element, that's going to be in the center section here. So I have all of the dates. And then we can see that if you are wood rat and it's a wood year, you're doing Jupiter, Jupiter, which is grow, grow, grow. If you're a fire rat here, that would be Jupiter, Mars, Jupiter being the energy for the year. And so that is having so many options. So I also have here the keywords, some of the keywords for rats. Rat's natural element is water, but you may be any of these elements. So just like in Western astrology, if you are a water rat, that's a little bit more, you know, pure, straightforward energy. And then unique to Chinese astrology, there's a secret friend. And so rat's secret friend is ox. So even if we don't see a compatibility sense in the wheel, because from a Western standpoint, ox and rat would be a semi-sextile, they're actually secret friends. They get along very, very well. Now, the Western astrology aspect that I have up here is the trine, and that is that rat makes a trine to the dragon. So again, I'm combining Western astrology with Chinese astrology. In Chinese astrology, they don't talk about aspects. So, but we know what the trine energy is. And so there's an understanding that this is an easier year for rat. Now, also, I look at the 12-year cycle of Chinese astrology as like a year on the farm. And so in the year on the farm, there is spring for 3 years, and then summer for 3 years, and then fall for 3 years, and then winter for 3 years. And that kind of gives you an idea, if you were doing the full 12-year cycle, which we do, that of what you could be focused on for the year. And so rat is in the second year of seed tending. So basically, rat, you guys are doing the middle of summer. And that means this is a more relaxed year, that you need to be selective about where you put your resources. So think of now the crops are really growing. You're watching out for pests or, to make sure that everything's getting watered. So you need to, spread yourself out to do these things, but you also need to be, aware that pretty soon it's going to be harvest time. You're going to be super busy. So you're going to take a break. This is the time to take it. You are going to see more business and career growth this year. And this is really a time for networking and making, new contacts. For those of you who are ox, your secret friend is rat. So the two of you get along very well. And you're doing the square energy. So if we think of it, you're 90 degrees away from the dragon. You are doing your first year of seed tending. That's your first year of summer. So summer on the farm is where you need to be kind of more discerning about what is important, what needs your focus. So in the first year, like now we've got little tiny plants. Maybe they're not strong enough to really survive on their own, so they need to be watched. And that is, think of all of your little projects, or maybe you have a job that's still pretty new. So things like that. Maybe your relationship is still in that younger stage. So that's why you're needing to pay attention. You need your progress on your goals becomes very clear. So you're actually seeing some results from what you're doing. You can expect business growth, and some of your friendships and connections that were really disrupted over the last 3 years now become more stable. Now, Tiger, you are in the last year of seed planting. So springtime is seed planting. And so you're in the third year of seed planting. So this is the end of springtime. So, and oops, I have the wrong secret friend for you. Your secret friend is pig. So please ignore that ox up there. I'm suddenly wondering if it's going to say ox the whole time. So this will tax my memory. So yes, this should be pig, which is really odd that pig and tiger are secret friends, but they are. So you're doing the sextile energy. So you have a lot of opportunities. You're a very powerful energy. Dragon is a very powerful energy. And so this is not something you can't handle. Everything that's coming, you definitely, like tiger is like, bring it on. And so being in the last year of spring, this means new job opportunities, more established routines, because over the last 2 years, there was a lot of change in your life, a lot of disruption. And so now things are starting to kind of stabilize a little bit. Now you have the very, very beginnings of those signs of success. So if you started a business or a new job, you're just starting to get the signs whether this is going to work or not. Change is easier. Well, change for Tiger is already easier. But it's just a little bit easier for you because you're now so used to it. And casual connections can become more serious. So, there we go. Rabbit, your secret friend is indeed dog. And so the two of you get along very well. And which, again, to me, the secret friend thing is such a surprise because I would have thought the dog would chase the rabbit. And I have searched and searched for the origin of the secret friend, and I cannot find it. If anybody does know a book or a source on that, I would love to find out about it. So, Rabbit, you are doing the semi-sextile energy from a Western astrology standpoint. This is a 1 year off of your year. And so this year is so much easier. This is a time where a lot of the changes that you did last year, now you're going to see if those worked or not. You might have moved or changed jobs or changed relationships or things like that. Now, I will say, if you did not do at least one of those things in 2023, you are going to do those in 2024 because you're in a seed planting time. And that means that you have to do new things. If you don't, there's not going to be a harvest in a few years. So you must make some changes. But you will find still lots of opportunities for new connections. You're going to start to see some results. The interesting thing is that right now in the whole cycle of the farm, all you can see is the littlest, tiniest of plants popping up. And if you guys ever grow things, you know that a lot of them look exactly the same. And so you look at it, you go, well, I don't know if that's going to be kale or a tomato. So that's kind of where where you're at of, is this going to work? Is this the right job? Is this the right relationship? So questioning things a lot. And wow, a little misspelling there. Job and home relationship and some mystery word, influx. So, and then you do need to focus your efforts. Now, dragon, and I know we have some dragons on this call, and so this is the beginning of your 12-year cycle. It is your year. And this is your first year of seed planting. Your secret friend is Rooster, which if you look at it from a Western astrology standpoint, that would be Leo and Capricorn energy, which I always think they should kind of get along, although yeah, Leo and Capricorn says, you know, like, I'm wonderful because I built this, and Leo says I'm wonderful because I was born. So there's a little bit of a difference, but so for you dragons, of course, you're doing the conjunction. This is a big year of change for you. When you start the 12-year cycle, it's like being dropped on a farm. You have the knowledge of a farmer, you have your bag of seeds, but you're already hungry and you're wanting to get those seeds in the ground as fast as possible. That means try as many new things as you can. Try new foods, go to a new grocery store, do everything you can to do new things, and you will see amazing opportunities unfold throughout the year. This is not a time to hang back or, to, fly below the radar, well, like a dragon never would. So new friends, new connections, challenge to see what is working. You've just planted the seed. You don't know whether it's going to sprout or not. That's why you can't just start a business and then hope it's going to do something. Consider starting a business and then, what's another derivation of that business, or maybe start a second business, or maybe have a side job, so that you are always planting new seeds. New job, new home, new love, all of that change is possible. Now, Snake, you guys are in the last year of seed saving. So now this is winter on the farm. And I should have mentioned Snake and Monkey, you guys are secret friends. That's perfect because Snake, wise and possibly, a little bit of the... I was going to say sarcastic, but actually Monkey is more sarcastic. But I think they're both known for high intelligence and understanding things on many layers. And so I think it works that they are secret friends. So this is the last year of your 12-year cycle. And that really means that you're at that last year of winter and there's not much you can do to start the new things yet. You could maybe put things in little cups on your windowsill and start the little seedlings in the kitchen. So, but that would be more like some test marketing, a soft launch. Oftentimes for this year, what's good is study, is planning. If you're sitting in your cabin in the middle of winter, what are you going to do? You're going to plan what you're going to do when spring arrives. So that's what is good. It's also a time to look back over the last 12 years and do an inventory of what worked, what didn't, what do you need to let go of. This is a good time to declutter. And the funny thing is, and I tell this to people all the time, you're in your last year, and so declutter, and nobody ever does because it still feels like you need it. And then you'll hit that new year and you'll get rid of everything. And so in 2025, then you'll be like, oh, I can't wait to declutter. But if you can do it this year, that would be great. So this is your time for reflection and planning, going back to school or doing independent study, and testing the water with small projects. Okay, so then horse, you are in your second year of seed saving, so that's the middle of winter. And horse and goat, you guys are secret friends, and and you're doing the sextile. And so with the second year of seed saving, this is the middle of winter, and this is a time where you still have quite a few things in the pantry. You're not down to the beets, you're not down to the lima beans point. And so it is kind of a more relaxed time for you. You're doing that sextile energy, so it's a little bit more in harmony. You might be in a routine in your job. You might be in a routine at home. And sometimes we get into these things and we feel like it's just going to go on forever. So, but it is a good time to take inventory to see, what you have and look at the future and say, what do I want to do in a few years? So, and what kind of skills could I acquire during this time? This is more time for relationships and friendships, and more time for hobbies, travel, music, all of those sort of things. Now, goat, you are in your first year of seed saving, so that means you are in the first year of winter. Now, you may be very tired because you just finished that whole autumn process, and so now you've put all of your stuff in cans and jars, and you've lined the shelves with all the things that are going to help you through the next few years. And by the way, I should mention that you and horse are secret friends. And so you're doing the square energy. So you and dragon are at odds. The square energy is a fight. It's somebody wins, somebody loses, but there has to be some sort of conflict or action. And in taking the action, then can you get a win-win with a square? Sometimes. So it's interesting because the dragon can fly really high and the goat can climb really high. And so if anyone's going to compete with the dragon on height, it's going to be that goat. So, but winter on the farm, it does mean now that the harvest is done. And so you are looking at everything that you've created over the past few years and saying, okay, I was able to do this, I was able to do that, and other people notice too. So this could be a time of getting awards, gaining recognition. So this is also a time where you may take a break just because you're tired from the last few years. And things in your life are a little bit more stable at this point. And so relationship could be more stable, job could be more stable. And so you could take a hiatus. You shift, though, from an attitude of maybe looking for something that will grow to something that is going to maybe more do like dividends, or, how can I create passive income? How can I preserve what I have? So that is a time where you look at insurance, annuities, and things like that. So because you're going into this time of, dialing it back, being that you're in the winter time. So then monkey, you are in the last year of harvest. So this is the end of autumn. Your secret friend is the snake. And so the two of you can get together and talk about all kinds of things. You're doing the trine energy, so you're very harmonious with dragon. And now, so at the end of harvest, this is kind of like Thanksgiving time, so there's the table is just laid out with all of this abundance. And so you can change jobs at this point and get a better job. You can get a promotion. You can move a relationship forward, get engaged, get married, have kids. Like this is you pulling in all of these the favors and all of the goodwill that you've been building all of this time. This is when you need to look around and say, this is my time because it's harvest. And this is what I've put out there seed-wise. What can I collect? It doesn't mean this is a time to do nothing. You know, on the trine, our temptation is to not take an action. But if we can take an action, then we can really reap the benefits. And so you're in high demand, your popularity increases, and many landmark events happen during this last year of harvest. Now, Rooster, you are in the second year of harvest, and you are doing the inconjunct energy with Dragon, which we know an inconjunct means that you have nothing really in common with that Dragon energy, but you are secret friends, which is so interesting. You know, in Western astrology, I describe an inconjunct as you really want ice cream, you go to the freezer, and all you have is salmon. So, and you can't make ice cream out of salmon. So you either have to go to the grocery store and get your ice cream, or you have to eat the salmon. So that's the inconjunct. You have to make an adjustment. That's kind of a light inconjunct. I know that they can be irritating aspects. So the second year of harvest is an extremely busy time, right? Because you have to get all of this produce in, and then you've got to get it canned and up on the shelves. Otherwise, you know, the birds are going to eat it or it's going to rot on the vine. So it's a very busy year. So lots of opportunities for expansion, for promotion, for business growth, to expand the family, to expand your connections, but extremely busy year, but a successful year. Now, Dog, you are doing the opposition year. And by the way, your secret friend, Rabbit, will be able to commiserate with you because Rabbit had such a hard year last year. The opposition is considered the most difficult aspect in Chinese astrology. Again, they don't technically say aspects, but just the opposition. And the reason is that everybody's looking at Dragon. No one's looking at you. And so you have to kind of kick up a little fuss to say, hey, everybody, you know, call me back or show up on time or, you know, pay attention to me. You have to have a louder voice. So, because otherwise you will be ignored. You are doing their first year of harvest. So now those of you who are Dog out there and you're reading Chinese astrology predictions, and it's all going to sound very bleak. But I want to remind you, you're in the first year of harvest. That means that you have potential for success because now everything is ripe. You know, you can pick it off the tree and eat it. This is a really abundant time, but oh, it's so much work. You come out of summer where you were having a good time, and now you're like, oh my goodness, I have so much to do. And that is that because it's the opposition year, you have to send the resume and call them and send the proper cover letter and then maybe send the resume twice. And so it's extra work for you, but you could have quite an abundant year if you are willing to do that. So there are opportunities for you everywhere. Make sure that you bark really loud because Dragon energy is so big and so overwhelming that you do have to jump up and down to get attention. It is quite possible you will have a new job or new promotion this year. The harvest energy works the best on business things, but it can also do relationships. So you could establish your relationship or get engaged. Basically, you know, you're working at the dating part and now the harvest is, okay, we're engaged or we're getting married. So, and you can have quite a bit of a financial abundance this year. This means that you have the right skill set for many jobs and many opportunities. Again, you're just going to have to pound on that door a little bit more than you would normally, just so you can get the attention. And then we have Pig or Boar, and you're in the last year of seed tending. So that's the last year of summer. Your secret friend is the Tiger. such a surprise. So, and you're doing that in conjunct energy. There's not a lot in common between you and a dragon, but different than the rooster and the dragon, they were secret friends. And so yours is, this is energy that's extremely different. The one thing, pigs should not be underestimated. Pigs are extremely brave. And so with all of this high flying over the top energy, you're going to be the one who, stands there and goes, yeah, bring it on. I'm okay with that. So this for you is the last year of summer, a little bit more time for play and vacations. Life does feel abundant. You can eat all the early lettuces. There's all this, that you could still harvest if you wanted to. Lots of friends and social engagements. That's lovely for pig. Pig's quite social. Job or a promotion is possible, but more importantly, there is a sense of well-being. So now I want to talk a little bit about combining these energies with Western astrology. And so we have the really interesting energy of Pluto in Aquarius now, and then the wood dragon, which I've interpreted as Jupiter in Leo, right? Jupiter being the wood, and then dragon is Leo. And so we have this opposition energy, I think that's so interesting because, wood dragon says, look at me, I'm the king of the world. And Pluto in Aquarius says, king of the world doesn't matter anymore. This is, how can we kind of distribute that power and that energy more equally? And I can't imagine anyone being less agreeable to that than a wood dragon. Wood dragon's going to say, this is mine. I want it. But Pluto in Aquarius says, no, I'm going to give it to everyone. And so I think there's this desire for raw power. And there's going to be these people who rise up to say, I'm going to be the hero and I'm going to give you the power. I'm going to distribute it to you, whether they do or not. I do think that ideas will go to the extreme because, Pluto is about extremes, and then so is Jupiter in Leo. And then the individual, which would be the Jupiter and Leo, kind of battling the collective. So the idea of, again, the hero or the villain saying, it's me against all of you guys. So just stepping back from Pluto and Aquarius and just looking at Pluto, I think it's so interesting that the three most common traits of super successful people, these are the billionaires out there, are all Pluto traits. So the first one that is very common with all successful people is that they believe that they're special in some way, that they're more powerful than other people, that they have some sort of superpower, that they are meant to do this. And then the second most common trait for super successful people is that they feel unsafe, that they don't feel good enough. They doubt their superpower. So they believe they have a superpower and they doubt it at the same time, or they feel that the world is dangerous and that they don't need to have a job and a house to feel safe. They need to have $1 billion to feel safe. And so it's the dynamic between this I'm special and I'm not good enough. Those two forces propel the person forward. And that's, to me, a very Plutonian sort of energy. And then the third most common trait for super successful people is that they can do the same thing for years and years and years. And so there was this experiment years ago called the marshmallow test, which was that little kids were taken into a room and they were sat down at a table with a plate in front of them with a single marshmallow. And the person doing the study said, you can eat this marshmallow now, or if you wait till I come back, I'll give you 2 marshmallows. And then, some of the kids ate the marshmallow, some of the kids waited. And then they followed these kids as they grew up, and they found the ones who waited were far more successful than the ones that ate the marshmallow. And so the impulse control, that ability to wait for something and keep doing the same thing over and over with not necessarily seeing the results, is also that sort of Pluto trait, because Pluto takes so long to, go through a sign and through the chart. And so you may say, oh my gosh, I have all these three traits, but the third trait, what you need is this strong Pluto energy to just push through the boredom and just keep going and going. And that's what's going to create your billion-dollar empire. But I also think that if you have strong Pluto in your chart, you do probably have these three traits. And so let me know if you do. So Pluto in Aquarius in the world is going to be these idea of alliances. Aquarius is about community. And so we're going to look at alliances, but for power or survival. And so we're going to see these idea of who's going to be the United States' friend now, who's going to be Russia's friends now. And so what we may have thought was, oh, these are the connections that everybody has. I think that these are going to shift with Pluto in Aquarius. I think that Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring monopolies and this idea that these things are so big and therefore they're at a pinnacle, and that's more Capricorn energy. And should they be broken apart? And we're seeing this already in Europe, where they are saying no to mergers or acquisitions, because of the monopolies that already exist. And then collusion is something that we're going to be very aware on. That's both, yes, I want to collude, I want to have community and connect with people who are like-minded, and so that we're stronger. At the same time, then the Aquarius also said, no, we're going to spread it out really evenly, and so we cannot collude. And so we have, again, that kind of push-pull sort of energy. The wealth gap, of course. I'm sure that you guys heard the news that Jeff Bezos did really well in 2023, making $7.9 million per hour during 2023. But at the same time, we're seeing a universal basic income pop up in different cities, even cities in Texas, who is trying to outlaw it at the moment. So we're seeing this all over the place, where we, again, the Capricorn energy of, there's one guy at the top making everything versus universal basic income. Of course, Pluto in Aquarius, the most outrageous behavior is going to win. So apparently Elon Musk then wins. Although I'm sure there's more outrageous people out there. I feel like there's going to be a shift away from superheroes to moving towards groups of people having power. And so there were, I don't see a lot of TV, but there were a couple of different shows on where instead of the usual, person bitten by a radioactive spider who then can do things, to a group of women, girls really, who suddenly woke up one day and had a power where they could electrocute people. And so suddenly the power, which was concentrated in an area, now got spread out. And so that's where I think we'll see less superhero movies and more about groups having power. I think Pluto in Aquarius is going to do a sudden shift of wealth. I mean, the first person who ropes an asteroid and brings it to Earth, suddenly has more gold than the Earth ever could contain, or more lithium or whatever. Suddenly, now that's not a store of wealth anymore. Now that's very, very different. So, and then Aquarius is about the sudden and unexpected thing. And so the black swan, which is a term used in financial markets to be something that is completely unexpected, the thing that nobody would have ever considered. And so that's the thing that could happen that transforms everything. So now, more things about Pluto in Aquarius, and that would be integration of man and machine. So cyborgs, implants, embedded technology. Just last week, Elon Musk put a chip in somebody's head, I guess, so he can fly a helicopter or something. So AI art, this picture was created with one of the really early stable diffusion iterations. Now the pictures are so clear and just amazing. So bioengineering through gene manipulation. Then because Pluto is going to be extremes, we're also going to get this idea of, walking away from technology. So, but I always think of, like, remember the very first Star Wars movie where, this one family has this farm and they don't have farm hands, they have robots. And now with a lot of the technology, like one person could go out and homestead and basically be off grid and, water things and harvest things and just be one person. And that's never been before in history. So the struggle between centralized power and decentralized power. And so, of course, Bitcoin and blockchain and rise of dictators versus socialism. So both of those things, they're both going to come up and be strong and duke it out, I think. Transformation of the concept of belonging. So, whether the America as a union will survive this transit, that, we will see. Not a lot of countries have survived a Pluto return. But and I don't mean to say that as a scary thing. Like this is something that when people are living through it, for the most part, we'll look back and go, oh, that was really historic. But while we're living through it, we go, yeah, getting my groceries, taking the kids to soccer, etc. So, even in disasters, it doesn't happen everywhere all at once. And so we'll talk about a little bit more about that in a second. So the concept of belonging, the loneliness crisis, that's going to be something that is rather something that we do want to combat during Pluto in Aquarius. And then population transformation. So Aquarius being the masses and Pluto being transformation. So infertility crisis, as well as, abortion rights being taken away, a population collapse in some countries, population explosion in other countries. So what should you do during Pluto in Aquarius? Well, you need to find your tribe. You need to build your audience. You need to make friends. So this is where, if you can find people to share resources with, that's where you're going to increase your power and safety. And so, and a lot of people say, okay, I try to meet my neighbors, and all this. Well, Pluto says, keep doing it. And you say, how long? And Pluto says 20 years. Just keep doing it. Like every week, go out and say, hi, neighbor, how are you doing? And do it for 20 years. That's Pluto in Aquarius, is just keep doing something. That's that third leg of those three things that the successful people do, is you just keep doing the same thing over and over, pushing through the boredom, pushing through the tedium until it works. And so, just like today, this is a very special community. And so this is what Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring us, is opportunities for this. So now I have a video on Saturn in Pisces on my channel where I talk about this in a little bit more detail. So I made these predictions last year, and so this is how they're doing so far. Workers demanding flexibility in schedules, option to work at home leading to showdown with CEOs. We're hearing about that in the news every single day. So Saturn in Pisces, unclear who's in charge. Old leaders are gone. New leaders have not yet arrived. And boy, old leaders, right? We have two people who are running for office who are definitely older. I keep telling people in just 18 years, I can run for president. So what is built may not be stable, and what is already built might dissolve. So Saturn in Pisces, look at things that you feel that are solid in your life and recognize they may not be so solid. So problems and scandals within the pharmaceutical industry come to light. My prediction on that, I don't know if that's happening so much. Not enough workers in the healthcare industry, long wait times. Some of my clients work at different urgent cares around the country. Tell me about the overtime they put in. Unpaid overtime is terrible. Hours and hours because the lines are so long. Viruses become more prevalent, more contagious, and people self-isolate. I think I missed it on that prediction. I think that we're seeing the viruses, it's still out there and it's still lots, but and it is more contagious, but I don't think it's as harmful as it was before. Drought followed by lots of rain, and flooding followed by more drought. Well, that we just got a record amount of rain in California this last month, double. It broke all records by double the amount. So, and then it's been raining in February already. Controversy around the Navy or loss of important ship or submarine. I don't know if we've lost a ship or submarine, but I did read that they found it. They upped the radar of ships, and they found that there's like 50% more ships out in the ocean than they thought there was. I guess you're supposed to tell the country that you're going out to sea, and people haven't been. Less fish in the ocean, more rules about fishing. I didn't check to see if I was correct about that. Borders overrun, possible immigration reform 2025, 2026. I'm hopeful that we work things out there. Lots of hype around AI computing with a potential crash in 2025, 2026. So if you're investing in some of these, you might want to take your profits towards the end of 2024 just to be on the safe side. We're going to talk about the markets in a second. And then people identifying with victimhood and those who are not strong are forgotten and left behind. That's the really sad thing about Saturn in Pisces. Here's how to use this energy constructively. So you want to establish a set of rules for yourself that allow you to thrive in the world where things are beyond your control. So Saturn would be, the set of rules, and Pisces is stuff out of control. So finding peace in the eye of the storm. And, again, that storm doesn't happen everywhere all at once. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Finding your higher purpose, finding your mission statement. This is wood energy. Wood is about grow, grow, grow. And so, finding where you could grow, where you can do something that's bigger than yourself. Finding the balance between responsibility and obligations and experiencing life. There was a famous book years ago called Chop Wood, Carry Water about mindfulness, way before its time. And so you can check that out. Foregoing recognition, allowing others to have recognition. We're not seeing this so much in corporations right now, where CEOs are not taking cuts in salary, except for Musk, but that was forced. But they are cutting staff, finishing up old projects, letting go of things you don't want to finish, cutting your losses, letting go of time constraints. Saturn rules the calendar, but Pisces says, what time? Well, there's no time. Working in seclusion or learning to be comfortable spending time with yourself. Whoops, I missed clearing away barriers, especially guilt, finding ways to atone. There is a way to get past guilt, Saturn, and that is to find a way to make it up, either to other people or to yourself. And then receiving those helpful lessons that Saturn likes to bring us. So, and that, recognizing that the universe is really just trying to help us up the hill with Saturn. Here's where I wanted to talk about just a little bit, if you're into stock market stuff. This is why I knew that rabbit year was going to be probably an up stock market. We ended up 24% in the S&P this year. There was only one down year for rabbit, and that was right at the beginning of World War II. So dragon, slightly more mixed, as you can see. I think that dragon year in the stock market is going to be up and then go down. So it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, good for swing traders. But those of you who do options trading, the timing could be really hard this year. But check out snake year. Snake year will be 2025. And when it's up, it's really up, but most of the time it's not. And so plus when we add in the fact that we've got all of those slower moving planets, changing signs, so many different things happening, it is hard for me to believe we're going to have an up year with so much uncertainty going on. So what I would suggest, and I am not your financial planner, but what I would suggest is have some cash when we get to 2025, because there could be some real bargains. So the nodes in Aries and Libra, so freeing yourself from trying to please others, living independently, breaking off relationships or staying single, being less indecisive. Oh, I wish I could do that. That one's a tough one for me. Making more quick gut decisions and focus on physical beauty, physical appearance, or bodybuilding. So that's the general reading for an Aries Libra nodes. So that is people breaking society's rules, embracing the single lifestyle. I have heard this so much from clients lately, especially in that age group of, say, 50 to 70 years old women saying, I don't want a relationship. I do not. I just love living by myself. And I'm getting a lot of men calling saying, I wish I was in a relationship. I need someone to take care of me. And so we've got this really interesting dynamic that's growing. So more independent contractors and self-employed people, obsession with beauty, creation of personal avatars, more people opting for cosmetic surgery. I did not check any statistics on that, so I may be wrong about that. Possible rise of libertarianism. Don't know if that's, in a two-party world like we are, if that's going to happen. Now, the big thing in 2024, of course, is going to be the end of March and April. Major happenings that time. I'm sure you guys, if you're astrologers, you've already looked at this. We have the Aries ingress, Mars enters Pisces, lunar eclipse, Mercury retrograde, solar eclipse, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. And then we're going to have a 2-day period where Jupiter is conjunct Uranus, sextile Mars. At the same time, Venus will be conjunct Chiron, Mercury will conjunct North Node, Sun will square Pluto. So this is a time where if something's going to be happening, this, it's probably coming around this time. And generally how things are is they'll happen a little bit before this. So probably mid-March to end of March. And then we will see the repercussions of it during this period. And so for you, of course, what do? You pack your parachute. And that means that you recognize that in an uncertain world like we are, that one, and actually I might have a slide on this. Yeah. No, I don't know what this is here. This is Canva just putting words in for me. So his is not supposed to be there. But in 2024 and 2025, we have the animals of the Chinese zodiac that are the most flexible, the most adaptable. you can see just in their shape alone, they're ready to squeeze into any sort of situation, and they can move out of any sort of tight problem. And so this is how we put together our parachute. It is that we have to be flexible, we have to be adaptable, we have to be versatile, we have to be resilient, resourceful, open-minded, agile, and responsive. That's what we really need to do. More than having a bunker with a lot of canned goods, or, having the $1 billion, we're going to be better off being flexible and adaptable. And when we do that, we're going to learn and grow and have opportunities. And that's it. I don't know how I did on time. So.
Okay. Yeah, you're perfect. We are at an hour 20 and we have some questions and lots of hearts and hand claps.
Thank you. I do love the emojis.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it's so nice that you combine the Chinese astrology with Western tropical astrology. I think that's pretty cool. Oh my gosh, look at all those. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you on behalf
you.
of Donna.
Wow.
Wonderful. All right. Well, you ready to take some questions?
Sure.
Okay. All righty. I'm going to go to the top.
Did you want a different screen? Do you want are you
Well,
good? Yeah.
I think we can leave that screen up just for a little while. When you are welcome to stop sharing whenever you want, so they can just see you. The thing is, they might want to get your number or your email address, so you might want to just leave it there for a few minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question is, for the local time and Chinese astrology hours, would you ignore daylight savings time and
You're going
subtract
to, that's a great question. You just want to look at whatever's on your clock. So if that area does do daylight savings time, you're just going to see what's on the clock. So because in Chinese astrology, we don't adjust for location.
Okay. The next question, would you look at all 3 animals corresponding to your sun, moon, and ascendant?
So, well, that's really interesting. So, and let me think about this. So the year sign is your ascendant sign. Oh, I should have written this down. So that one's your ascendant sign. Then the month is your 4th house energy. The day is your 7th house energy, relationships, and then your hour is your 10th house energy. That's your career. So there's 4 pillars, and that is year, month, day, and time. And they correspond to the angles of, well, I correspond them to the angles of a Western chart. So ascendant is the year, and then month is 4th house, then the next is 7th house, the day, and then the hour, your career is 10th house.
Oh, okay. And you work with all 4 of those things?
Well, yeah. So the interesting thing about the 4 pillars is that when you have your whole chart, now you can see whether the animals get along, whether the elements get along. And so you can tell whether, you are happy in your career, but your parents wish you did something else. So basically the year is kind of your potential, and then when we get to the month, that's more your upbringing. Then relationships and connections, that's the day. And then your, what they call the fruits of what you do, your children, as well as your career, what you produce, what you create, is the hour.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to stay focused on questions, but that is so interesting. I'd like to hear more. All right, so the next question is if there is a northern-southern hemisphere difference in Chinese astrology.
Not that I'm aware of, because it's a calendar, only difference would be that we're going to celebrate the new moon on the 9th, and but Lunar New Year's on the 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our next question is if you could explain how you figured the start and end of the cycles, the spring, summer, winter, fall.
So well, let me go to that slide. Ooh, is way in the beginning. Here, so the heavenly stems are the cycle from birth to decay, death and decay. So we're right now at the very, very beginning. And so Yang Wood, and so Yang Wood is set in the spring. So it is the beginning. And so that's then how we do our cycle of the seasons. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So you, okay. Yes. Thank you.
And this means that, we just finished the yin water year 2023, or we are finishing. That's the decay. And we're going to go into birth of everything. So this is a big deal this year. And then we put dragon on top of that.
Okay. Okay, this is a question about the cycle. It takes about 59, 60 years for your element animal to return to when you were born.
Correct. Yes.
So do you look at the return, because you know how we have returns in Western astrology, a solar return, a Saturn return. So the question is, when something returns, is there an interpretation around that?
There isn't, but it's a great idea. I love the idea of doing like a return chart to see what the energy for the day, hour, day, month, day, and hour would be when your birthday happens. Well, the month would be the same. So it's an interesting idea. I think I had something else and it's gone. It'll come back to me.
Okay, we'll go on to
the reason there was 60 was that was the presumed lifespan. And so now, everybody's pushing towards this 120. So we'll do 2 cycles. And so it'll be interesting to see if that becomes the time where, everybody lives to about 120 and, give or take. And then we'll have to push 180 after that.
Yeah. Kind of makes you think of the Uranus cycle when you get to 84 and you start all over again. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is about the equivalency of the Chinese animal to an astrology sign. Is it an equal? Like, can you say this example? And the question is, is dragon equivalent to Aries?
Well, I don't see dragon as Aries. Where's my little guy here? So I see dragon as Leo. And it's not a direct one-to-one equivalent. Dragon has some nuances to it. Leo has some nuances to it. It's just when we look at the general energy of dragon, which is, I'm great at these things. I mean, I talk to so many people who say, I don't believe in Chinese astrology, but I'm a dragon. So they knew that part. And so that is the same energy as that Leo that says, here I am, look at me, I'm king of the jungle. So I feel that the essence of it is that same energy. But when we come down to, Leo represents childbirth, we don't see that with dragon specifically.
Okay. So you can't really say one animal is one sign. That's
correct. There's just a general connection. So it's just some extra vocabulary words for us to play with, which is nice. Because that's the hardest thing in astrology. Well, not maybe the hardest, but that we are learning a whole language. And so we need the vocabulary to describe the different symbols that we're seeing.
Yeah. Yes. So I think what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's a reference. It's to help us better understand the Chinese animals, to bring in the astrology signs that we all, since we're astrologers, that we're more familiar with those.
Yes, yes, to give us that little bit of an understanding and a feel for it so we can kind of have a picture of it. Because, with, say, rabbits, we may think, oh, like weak, quiet and all that. And then you put Cancer on it, you go, oh no, that rabbit's pretty tough. Cancer's the water that cut the Grand Canyon. So the rabbit, who actually sits between the tiger and the dragon, as you can see, is a very powerful energy. It's quiet, yes, wants peace, but you can't push a rabbit.
Okay, great. Next question. Kevin wants to know if you have anything in your predictions that you shared that could be more specific for people who are retired as opposed to people who are still in a career type of modality.
Oh yeah, I always forget about retired people since and I get asked that a lot. So, during this kind of new energy and it's high flying and all that, to really focus on how can you be versatile and adaptable is going to be really important. Then also to recognize that if you have time to be watching your investments and things like that, that, people may be quite optimistic this year, and then that optimism may continue into next year, but it may be unwarranted for next year. And so just to be aware of that. Or if people, like when things start to dive, if people get pessimistic, recognize that dragon's going to rise up again. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. When it comes to the other things about, everything that I said about career or business, well, if you're retired, then maybe you're acting, doing things in the community. Maybe you're volunteering. And so that would be more volunteer opportunities, maybe an opportunity to lead the organization, and that organization is your HOA. So that's the way I would translate it.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so this is a feng shui question. Would it be within the realm of feng shui to take what you've talked about today with the wood dragon year and do something in your home space or your office space? Like, is there something that you would recommend doing to feng shui your space?
Oh, that's interesting, because with any shift of energy, you do want to move things around, because in feng shui, it's the idea that the energy moves. And so you're trying to catch that river of energy. And so as you move different remedies or cures around, or even just the furniture around, I mean, everybody knows when you move the furniture around, it feels like a whole new place. And so that's because you're catching the energy. And so with the shift, yes, you do want to move things around, like dust off your cures. If you have a little dragon statue or things like that, that's to bring power. Or maybe have a little lucky money cat who's calling money. You want to dust these off, and you might want to shift them, move them, even just a couple of inches here or there. So, but specifically with the dragon energy, there are very big opportunities that are going to be outside of your comfort zone. So you might want to welcome those with a new welcome mat, or making sure that the area around the front door is very clear, that there's no bushes or branches that would catch on your clothing as you walked up, and that, the steps are in good repair, and there's no broken pots on the porch and things like that, so that you are welcoming the opportunities, and to make sure that you have a way to see the opportunities, or basically who's knocking on the door when you're inside the house. That would be a peephole, a door camera, or something like that. Otherwise, you're opening the door and getting surprised by opportunities. And that's like your boss coming to you and saying, I have a new job for you. It's in Spain, your leave tonight. And it's, to get more notice, you want to be able to see what's coming.
Great advice. Thank you. I've already Anyone with dragons out there, dust them off. Okay, there's a question about the secret animals.
Hmm.
So based on the secret animal to, your own Chinese animal, how do you incorporate that? Like, what can you do with that information?
So if you have, so in your 4-pillar chart, so your year, month, day, and time, you might have animals that seem incompatible, but they are actually secret friends, which does mean that your chart could be more harmonious. You could also maybe have people in your life who are a sign where, again, you might think that, oh, they're a rooster, I'm a dragon, are we really going to get along? But they are compatible. And so that's where I would use it the most. You could also see that for, as I said, those who are roosters out there, because a dragon is your secret friend this year, it could be much better for you than certainly a normal inconjunct year would be.
Okay. So back to the feng shui that you were just talking about, there's a question about which direction to point a wood dragon in your home. Is there a particular direction to point it?
So there are lots of different systems of feng shui. When I was studying, there was 8. I think that there's more now, but I like to use a hierarchy when it comes to directions. And that is, if you're building the house itself, then you are going to pull out the compass. It's called a lopan, and you are going to align that to the appropriate energies, and that way you face your house in a certain direction. But once the house is built, all energy, new energy, must come through the front door. And so at that point, the compass directions don't matter. So the dragon would be welcoming the new energy. Therefore, the dragon would face the front door.
Okay, thank you very much. I think a lot of us have now become very interested in Chinese astrology. How would one get started? Do you have any special books that you would recommend?
Well, I will. I have a book coming out with Llewellyn. I think they say it will be out in December of this year on the basics of Chinese astrology. And that's going to have, a little predictions for each year. And so you can just go in and find that. Otherwise, yeah, there are there's books that have been around for a long time. I would say start to play with it from the Western astrology standpoint. Use this and start to pull in your own vocabulary and start to test it. And so that you could say, oh, well, today, it's maybe a yang water rooster day. What's going on today? What's the theme of the day? So, and sorry, I didn't pull up my 10,000 year calendar to see what day it was today. I should have.
That's okay. Well, thank you. And let's see, is dragon energy good for writing and publishing?
Well, dragon energy is very creative, that's for sure. One of the issues with dragon is that it has the big concepts a lot of the time because it is interested in the big, exciting projects and has trouble getting down to the, oh, what is an ISBN and how do I get one? And so when you're doing writing and publishing, you may have to find someone to help you with the little details, or you have to come out of dragon mode and access some other part of your chart so that you can get all of the work done, right? So, because this is, it's the Leo part. It's, I'm here for the party, not the person cleaning and making hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're past our time, and I know you've answered quite a few questions. I'm sorry we can't get to all the questions. This happens every webinar. We always get lots and lots of questions, but we really appreciate you being with us today, Donna. This was really enlightening and interesting subject for Kepler College, and I think you have your information. Yep, it's right there, so you can contact Donna at her email there. If you want, get a screenshot before we wrap up today, and we will definitely have this replay posted on our YouTube channel later this week, so you can always grab a screenshot there as well. So thanks everyone for being here with us. We hope to see you next time. Thank you so much, Donna, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Lori Waters, too. Thanks for being here. I cannot end it with all these emojis. It's just too pretty. So I'm just going to let them float for a
Thank you
moment.
guys
And then
so
we're done.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.